the superhero everyone is talking about? Fresh and local man?
Why, yes, I am.
What brings you to Big City Burgers and Greens?
I need something fresh and quick for some hungry businessmen.
Well, you've come to the right place. Big City Burgers is a fresh and fast place to eat lunch in Des Moines. Here's your food.
Why, thank you, random citizen. Big City Burgers is great.
Welcome back to the Iowa-Sota Show on 88.1 The Edge. We are here again every Monday from 6 to 8. So, for our second airing, we're going to have a little overview to let you guys know what we're going to be talking about. I will talk about a little bit of Grandview school news, GV sports updates, Minnesota sports updates.
Of course.
Yeah, I gotta. And then I also have some things that's been bothering me and things that's made me happen again this week. How about you, Melody?
Well, I, of course, have the Iowa side of things, so I got some Iowa sports. I've got some little-known Iowa facts, because I got to educate you, Eric.
I need
on
it.
the wonderful Iowa. I have a question for you about Minnesota, and then we got some common cold tips and some more GV news.
I cannot wait.
It'll be sweet.
All right, so we'll get you back to some music here on 88.1 The Edge. And you were just listening to Selfish by Future on 88.1 The Edge. So, keeping all of our students and Grandview alum, or any fan, I guess, with some Grandview school news. So, Melody, it's homecoming weekend. Are you excited?
Woot! I've never experienced a Grandview homecoming since this is my first year here.
They are a pretty good time. I recommend checking out a football game, as they will probably win again.
Oh, good.
Grandview also received a $2.75 million grant from the U.S. Department of Education, so that's a neat opportunity for Grandview. And last but not least, 3 professors here at Grandview were published in scholarly journals, so it looks like we're getting taught by the best.
Sweet.
So, you are listening to 88.1 The Edge. Sit back, relax, and enjoy some tunes.
I've never actually swung from a fire escape, but I would actually love to do that. You are listening to Edge 88.1, and this is Melody. I've got your Iowa sports. We just went over to Grandview, and so now we're spreading out.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we got scores for UNI versus Southern Utah. 21-24, Southern Utah won, but it was a hard battle. We've got Iowa versus North Texas, and Iowa wins 31-14. That one was pretty easy.
They struggled for a little bit, though. I watched a little bit of the game.
Okay, a little bit, but 31-14, that's pretty... They pulled that.
But like I said last week, the Hawkeye fans talk their team up like they're something special, so they shouldn't be struggling against the North Texas.
That's true. I'd never really heard of North Texas. And then finally we've got Iowa State versus Akron. And ISU definitely won that one, 41-14.
Ugh. Where is Akron?
I don't know.
I know. Ohio.
That's it for your Iowa sports on Edge 88.1.
You are listening to the Iowa-Sota Show. I'm your host, Eric, with the Soda, or should I say superior, sports updates.
Oh my goodness, that is all in your perspective.
Okay. Starting with the Minnesota Wild, Marcus Foligno just signed a 4-year deal, who we just recently acquired from the Buffalo Sabres. The Minnesota Timberwolves, who tip off in 30 days, just re-signed small forward Shabazz Muhammad, so it's nice to have him back. Minnesota Twins split the weekend series with the Toronto Blue Jays, and they currently hold the second wild card spot and will have a 3-game set against the New York Yankees, who are the worst team in the MLB.
I was going to say, isn't that your favorite team?
The Minnesota Vikings broke my heart this weekend as they got trampled by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't even want to say the score because it was that embarrassing.
Oh, you got to say it.
26-9.
Oh, ouch. Oh,
I can hear my heart breaking right now. Last but not least, Gophers football row their way to a giant victory over Middle Tennessee State. Maybe a tune-up game. Whatever. We'll take it. Gophers need it. That's all I have here for the Minnesota Sports Update.
There we go.
You're listening to 88.1 The Edge. You were just listening to Humble by the one and only Kendrick Lamar. So if you haven't already checked out GVU Media, I recommend you do so. I found a really awesome video that has sort of a personal connection to me on GVU Media, and it was talking about Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Iowa. Melody, have you ever heard of it?
I have heard of it, although I have to say I'm not super familiar with it. How come it's a personal connection?
Well, this summer I was working in Kansas City, and my host dad, so the house I stayed at, worked for Big Brother, Big Sisters of Kansas City. So I got familiar with it. It's a nonprofit organization, and it's pretty much an opportunity to be a leader, or what's a term for it? A guide?
Mentor kind of
thing?
a
mentor.
That's
for
awesome.
Somebody who needs it. So that's pretty much just a summary of it. Please check it out. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Iowa. It's awesome. Check out GVU Media. You can get a lot more information from there, along with a ton.
Videos, podcasts.
Yeah. Anything you could imagine. Check it out on GVU Media. This is 88.1 The Edge.
Edge 88.1. That's what you're listening to. You just heard a little bit of country, which is kind of exciting. This is Melody, and I'm here. So it's Grandview Homecoming this week, which is exciting, and the theme is like superheroes, kind of, or at least that's what sidewalk painting was. Eric, my question for you is, what is your favorite superhero?
Easy, no thought to it, the Hulk.
The Hulk? Why the Hulk?
There's something about his extreme athleticism and strength that just cannot be compared to.
I guess that kind of sums up Grandview right there to some degree.
My question is, when he forms into the Hulk, what happens to his clothes? Like,
that is everyone's question. Literally everyone's
That could be a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I personally think he has some strange special pants. But anyway, that is all for now. Stay tuned for some more hits on Edge 88.1. And it is the top of the hour, 7 o'clock, and you are listening to Edge 88.1. And I've got something to talk about. Since Eric's from Minnesota, I feel like I need to educate him a little bit on Iowa, and I've actually learned a lot. So I have another little-known Iowa fact. Believe it or not, Ripley's Believe It or Not has dubbed a street in Burlington, Iowa, the most crooked street in the world. Do you believe it?
I can, but how would they even figure that out?
I don't know. I didn't actually get to look into it super in depth. I did watch a YouTube video, and that street is pretty crooked.
Shocked.
Yep, but it even made it into Times Magazine, so Iowa's pretty cool.
I'm glad I learned that, because my Iowa culture knowledge is a little low.
Yep, that's why I'm
here,
Eric. Alright, stay tuned for more tunes on Edge 88.1. You are listening to the Iowa-Sota Show on 88.1. So, Eric, I have a question for you.
Lay it on me.
Alright. So, I met you this semester, and I know you're from Minnesota, so...
The best around.
Okay, no. Why did you come to Iowa then? That's not my question. My question is, what happened to your accent?
Ouch. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't hurt. If I have an explanation for it, I still have one. It might not be very strong, but I'd say it comes out during...
When you get surprised?
It's spontaneous.
Spontaneous.
I feel like because of the radio, I might have to clear up my voice a little bit so I can't say out or ol or like you betcha, like because people don't they don't always understand it, and like I can't say those sayings are very common because they're, in my opinion, they're not like.
You don't say you betcha all the time?
No, or like don't you know, like stuff like that. It's rare for that type of stuff to come up.
Fair enough. And do you think that Iowans have accents?
I do.
Oh, really?
It almost is kind of sickening.
What? Okay, I am offended.
But no. Okay, now listen to this though.
Okay, hurry up.
Listen, because some Iowa people, not all, and I don't think you do, but a lot of Iowa people act like they got this southern draw, and it's like you're still in the north.
Oh, so we're not south enough to try and have an accent.
No, you're still close to Canada.
Fine. All right, next up we've got Give Love by Andy Grammer on 88.1.
This is KDPS. I'm glad I was listening to Summer Soul because my soul hurts after reading some recent news. So, my first question is to you, have you seen the Netflix documentary Last Chance U?
I have not. I've only been watching Parks and Rec this week.
Ugh, The Office. Okay, so The Last Chance U is, to summarize it, it is a community college in Mississippi, and it's where really good football players go when they get kicked out or get in legal trouble. It's their second chance at becoming a Division I football player. Okay, so I read some news that one of the stars of the show just got acquitted for murder.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And that bothers me because after watching the show, the kids get all the opportunity in the world to fulfill their dream of being a Division I football player again. And it kind of just made me realize that it's really up to the person if they really want to change or not. You got a take on it?
It's true. I mean, it sounds like an interesting documentary for sure. I might have to check that out if I ever finish my homework.
It's pretty good, but it's a shame what happened. But you know what's not a shame is some of the tunes coming up next on 88.1 The Edge.
You are listening to Edge 88.1. So, if any of you are interested in learning more about this station and the awards we've earned here at Grandview and the DJs and just kind of the programming and stuff, feel free to head over to GVU Media. Also, you can check out how you can save our station there. There's a lot of information, a very interesting YouTube video, and yeah, I would encourage you to check that out to keep 88.1 on air and Grandview winning awards. And now we've got some more tunes for you guys with Kenny Chesney. You are listening to Edge 88.1. And this is Melody. And something that I have heard a lot about this week is T Swift.
She's always in some sort of drama.
You know, she definitely keeps herself going. But I recently heard about her new songs, which I am still for debate on whether I like them or not. They're catchy. Definitely not country. But she is now trying to copyright the phrase 1989, which, you know...
It's a bit selfish.
I think that is a bit selfish to try and claim an entire year for yourself.
Well, she's made plenty of money to buy it, I bet.
No kidding, but I think the craziest part is the amount that fans have been upset about people who are not okay with this, telling other people that they need to shake it off and haters are gonna hate. I don't know where you land on it, I'm still figuring it out, but I thought that was interesting this week. In honor of that, we're gonna do a throwback to Taylor Swift. Here's Out of the Woods.
You are listening to 88.1 The Edge. This is Eric, and you know, I feel bad about all the bad news I've been talking about today, and it seems to me that there's a lot of bad news all over the media.
Yeah, we definitely need some good stuff here.
So, to follow up on that, I think we as...
You are listening to Edge 88.1, and we are officially down to our last couple minutes here of the Iowa-Sota Show.
It's been a blast. We've had a lot of fun.
It's been so fun talking about Minnesota, Iowa sports and all kinds of random facts.
We learn something new every day.
Every day, and you can join us every week on Monday, 6 to 8, and we will have more of that next week. Stay tuned, and here's some more tunes for you guys. Have a good week. You're listening to Edge 88.1. This is Melody, and normally this is the Iowa-Sota Show, and it still is, but this first hour, it is Switch Week, so I am doing this solo. Eric will be with you at 7 o'clock to give you more of his Minnesota sports side of things, but for now, you're with me. And it is officially, it's fall, y'all, and that is all over the internet. It's fall, y'all, is on Instagram, it's fall, y'all, is on Pinterest. I don't know how the southern twang got all the way to Iowa, but it did. And so, for this hour, we're gonna dive into some fall traditions that I think a lot of Iowans have, and we'll just see if you guys find some in common or not. Stick around for more tunes on Edge 88.1. Next up, we've got There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes. You're listening to Edge 88.1. This is Melody, and that last song you heard was Location by Khalid. Location is the next thing we're going to be talking about with the fall, with the wonderful weather, sunny, sunshiny days, fluffy kind of clouds. They just make you want to go outside, enjoy the colors, enjoy the leaves. One tradition that most Iowans have is to go and hang out at Ledges State Park. There you got all kinds of different trees. You got the canyon there, perfect to hang around the water. You can go check out Des Moines River. And the best part is, of course, the cliff on Long Lake Trail. If you've never been out there, I would highly recommend, because out there you can see perfect sunset views. It's great for long romantic hikes, or even a proposal or 2 or 3. I have seen a lot there. But just be careful. There is a potential for you to fall off a cliff there 1 or 2 times. There's been multiple sightings and reports of several teenagers falling off the cliff, 40 feet drop down, and having to be rescued there. So watch out on those long Iowan walks. You're listening to Edge 88.1. Next up is New York on St. Vincent. You're listening to Edge 88.1. This is Melody. Windows down, heater up, being able to smell the crisp air but still being warm in your car, and all the while cranking the jams. What can be better than this? Apparently there is a downside to this. A Canadian man was driving just in his suburban home, and he was pulled over because he was apparently disturbing the peace. The Canadian man, when pulled over, he was asked to give his ID and whether or not he was screaming or not. The man was slightly offended because though he was not screaming, he had been jamming out to the song Gonna Make You Sweat, Everybody Dance Now, the popular 90s hit by C+C Music Factory. The police then looked over his car, checked everything out, and gave him a fine for none other than singing. Apparently his career is not in singing. This all happened in Canada, so hopefully it won't come to U.S., but you better be careful with how you do it. Sit back and maybe jam out to the next tune here on Edge 88.1, Sun Comes Up by Rudimental. You're listening to Edge 88.1. This is Mel, and it's fall, y'all. The time when birds and people who can't stand the cold migrate south. The thing is, this short vacation time is very important, and here are some do's and don'ts that you probably shouldn't. You should, if potential, learn another language, because you never really know when this could help you. Whether you go all the way down to Florida, where you've got all the different people that go there for vacation. We went to Disney World once, and the amount of different languages that we heard was pretty ridiculous. Or whether you go on a cruise, hang out in South America, where it's a lot warmer than Iowa. Definitely helpful to know South American language. Also, if you end up in South America, do not cliff jump. This is from experience of a very close friend of mine who ended up cliff jumping and highly regretting it. Bruises on the leg and bruising on the tailbone. Couldn't sit down for quite a while. I would highly recommend avoiding that. And also, May be careful on where you're wandering on the beach. There's a lot of potential scariness there. But, it's better than the cold for some people. Stick around. We've got you and I up next on Colony House. You're listening to Edge 88.1. If you want to watch videos on laughing yoga or trick shots on the basketball court or find out more about this station, I recommend you go check out GVU Media. GVUmedia.com is where you can find all of that. For now, sit back and listen to some more tunes on Edge 88.1. That was Sun Goes Down by Bruno Martini. You are listening to the Edge 88.1, and I'm Melody. It is fall, and with fall comes chilly weather and time to bundle up and hang out in our dorm rooms, in your homes, and watch, of course, the Netflix. So what better to talk about than what is coming to Netflix this week? On Netflix today, we have While We Were Young, which is a show, a movie about teens in love. Check it out if you want. And, of course, the Disney classic Meet the Robinsons, if you're feeling like a little bit of animated. The biggest thing on this list that you're going to want to keep track of is October 27th. Stranger Things 2 is coming out just in time for Halloween, of course, so you can all binge watch season 2 and see what else they put in that show. It's going to be a little crazy, I'm sure. The previews look super intense. But for now, sit back and relax and enjoy the tunes on Edge 88.1. You're listening to Edge 88.1, and this is Melody. ISU. It's football fall. ISU beat Texas Tech this Saturday 31-13. Texas Tech put up a pretty good fight, but ISU he hung in there, and we killed it. It was pretty awesome. This week, ISU reached top 25. That's the first time since 2005 that the team has done that before, and it's just there's great anticipation. Next week, they play TCU, ranked number 4. ISU ranked number 25. It should be an awesome game, especially considering the game against number 3, Oklahoma, at Oklahoma, that ISU won. I, for one, am impressed and surprised because I never had much expectations for ISU football. We're always in it for the basketball. But this year, football looks promising. It's not that bad to be an Iowa State fan in this way. So stick around. Eric's going to be coming into the studio to talk about more sports and give you some more Minnesota stuff, I'm sure, on Edge 88.1.
Welcome back to the Iowa-Sota Show on 88.1 The Edge. I'm one of your hosts, Eric. Alongside me is my partner, Melody. It's our first show in October.
October is here! I am so excited!
See, I'm a big fan of October. I love the football that's going on. A lot of college, a lot of pro football. But there's one vibe I'm not picking up on anymore, and it's Halloween. What's going on with Halloween? I feel like the vibe, at least where I'm from, it's died down a lot. What's going on?
You're not feeling it here in Iowa at all?
No.
That's so strange. I mean, yeah, I've definitely sensed maybe a little less excitement on the side of the little kids. Maybe they just don't like candy anymore.
I doubt. Do you think it's like the safety aspect of it? Like, people are a little more protective now, I think. I don't know.
It could be. I mean, I definitely still think that there is hope for Halloween, and there's probably some kids out there just raring for candy.
That's me still.
Definitely still me, and I'm, 21? All right. Stay tuned for some more hits on Edge 88.1. You were listening to some Green Day on Edge 88.1. It is October, and with October comes Oktoberfest. And one product you might want to consider getting, I don't know, I heard about this today, is Adidas's new shoe, which they claim is vomit and beer resistant for all of your Oktoberfest needs. I don't know if you would ever consider getting that, Eric, but if you did, they only cost $239 per pair.
That's a hard pass.
Hard pass on your
I'm not a big shoe guy. I used to be really into the shoe stage in my life where it solidified an outfit. But now I'm past that stage. One, I probably would never partake in Oktoberfest. It's just not me. But the shoes itself, no way, I'm passing.
Well, some people take them, some people won't. I'm sure the Germans will get into it.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more hits on Edge 88.1.
You were listening to Talk, and now you're going to hear us talk about some recent news in the financial world. So, a company by the name of Roku just went public this week, and if you don't know what Roku is, it's a streaming device that helps you access other streaming devices. So, we're in college, we're taught to be unique, and have all these bright ideas, but this company like Roku is worth $400 million right now.
Yikes.
And it's just a simple idea of, we're just going to be a streaming device for other streaming devices.
It's so creative, isn't it?
It's like we're taught to overthink everything when there is a $1 million idea right in front of us. So that was just something that came up. I thought it was really interesting. But don't touch that radio dial. We'll be back soon on 88.1 The Edge.
You're listening to Edge 88.1 in the Iowa-Sota Show. So it's the Iowa-Sota Show. I'm an Iowan, but because I'm friends with Eric, the Minnesotan, I actually went and checked up on some Minnesota news. And Eric, I don't know if you know about this, but Minneapolis actually closed part of their interstate, I-35 West, from downtown to like a major highway area for this weekend. And this weekend, I heard there was a Vikings game, a Twins game, and a marathon all in one. I've never been to Minneapolis. What do you think that would be like?
Well, I could tell you it would probably be chaotic and a little bit of a fiasco. One, this is my least favorite part about Minnesota, and that's driving downtown without road closes.
Oh, man.
So, it's bad, okay? So there's a lot of people walking around, jaywalking. There's cars. People don't let you switch lanes. It's a nightmare. With a major highway like that closed,
yeah,
I wouldn't be able to fall asleep at night. I'm just thinking about it. And
it was crazy. They report that they had backups from like 3 to 4 miles going.
I'm sure people were in traffic for hours, and I can only feel that suffering from here. Like, it's not a good thing.
And the question is, were those games worth it? You'll have to stick around, Eric. We'll give you the scores of the games and everything else on the next segment on Edge 88.1.
You were listening to Simple Things by Brooklyn and Bailey, and now you're listening to another sports update, Minnesota sports update by Eric.
This is the long part.
So, beginning with the Minnesota Wild, preseason action, blah, blah. Their season starts on Thursday. They come off the playoffs. I'm hoping they repeat and actually do some damage towards the Stanley Cup this year. Next, the Wolves had their first preseason action, so we see that stacked team with Jimmy Butler, Karl-Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins. They handled the Lakers. That's the first game. I can't wait for them to make the NBA playoffs. The Vikings, however...
Oh boy, this is not good.
They suffered a big L and a bigger one by losing our starting running back, Dalvin Cook, with a torn ACL.
Oh, those are the worst.
I'm trying to be optimistic and say that the season's not over, but it's tough. The Gophers, somebody stormed through that lake and rode right through them, and their name was the Maryland Terrapins. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh boy.
But last but not least, the Minnesota Twins are in the playoffs. I am so excited. I haven't felt this since middle school. They take on the New York Yankees tomorrow. What do you have to say?
I'm so happy for you. And, I think we'll just go over to the Iowa side of things now. So stick around for the next segment to hear about the Iowa update on Edge 88.1. Alright, we are going to go way back into the weekend and talk about the Iowa sports and what happened. So generally, Iowa's biggest thing right now is football. And so for Iowa State on Thursday, they played the Texas Longhorns. Iowa State had a pretty solid defense and were good for a little bit, but ultimately Texas's defense totally killed them with over 2 interceptions that ultimately led to touchdowns. And yeah, Deshaun Elliott was definitely Texas's MVP in that area.
I watched a little bit of the game, and I got a buddy who's a diehard Texas fan.
Oh, no.
And, kind of a boring game. I really was cheering for Iowa State because I feel like that'd be a big bolster to their program. I don't think they're as bad as everybody thinks.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm more optimistic about them than I am with my own Minnesota team right now.
There we go. I'm so excited. I'm glad we can agree on that. All right, and then Saturday we had Iowa play Michigan at Michigan. And Michigan State, it was the Big Ten opener, and unfortunately Iowa lost 10-17. The quarterback actually got sacked 3 times. Nate Stanley tried, but just the linemen were not in it. We're not really sure what happened. And Michigan offense took a while to warm up, but their defense held up after that, and then they just took off.
I can't say I watched any of it. I was too busy watching my pro teams from Minnesota.
Yeah, Iowa
but
doesn't
it
have
sounds
those.
like a very cliche Big Ten game, kind of low scoring, running the ball, boring.
Yeah.
I don't know if Michigan State is legit. I think Iowa is better than Michigan State. Just one of those days.
Yep, Iowa definitely had one of those days. But, that's okay. We have those days.
It happens. So there you have it. That's the best of Iowa sports. Remember, you're listening to the Des Moines Radio Mashup on 88.1 The Edge.
You're listening to Edge 88.1. So I was staying up late studying with my buddy last night, and of course we were caffeinated, charged, and my buddy started shaking. So, we did some looking, and it found out that caffeine is actually a natural pesticide. The plant produces it to fight bugs.
Whoa.
Yeah, so what happens is the bug tries to eat at the berries and stuff, and the caffeine in the berries actually stimulates the bug system enough that the bug starts shaking and basically ODs on caffeine. Yeah, it's a crazy thing to think about. It's also crazy to watch.
I'm going to have to check that one out.
I know, and so of course my friend's shaking, and I'm like, wait, what the heck? And so, and I'm sure you've had caffeine shakes before.
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay, well, maybe it's just us.
Unless coffee is considered a caffeine shake.
Oh, yeah, when you drink coffee and start shaking?
Never that
jittery?
much, though.
Oh, man. Well, thankfully, we checked, and really, you only have to drink 50 cups a day with 3 shots of espresso to OD on caffeine. So I think you're good. I think you can keep drinking that coffee, and I would recommend it.
I'll never reach that point, but I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, so maybe go grab a cup of coffee and listen to Edge 88.
You're listening to the Iowa-Sota Show, and part of this show is trying to help me, Eric, keep up on the Iowa culture. And so I have a partner from Iowa, and I've honestly never asked you what you thought about Iowa. However, I was reading an article online, and it said that Iowa is one of the top 5 places to retire. And so my question is, how much do you love Iowa, and do you see yourself retiring here?
I mean, personally, I've grown up in Iowa, and so I think it's awesome. I've also traveled around to other states, and as much as I love traveling and getting to experience the other states, there's just something about Iowa that's so sweet. That you just want to come back to. I think maybe a plus is the fact that there are not really any poisonous snakes or poisonous creatures here.
That's a big factor.
I know. I'm sure everybody thinks about that in retirement. Maybe a minus would be the weather, but I would stick with the weather in order to stay in Iowa if I could.
Very interesting. I'm glad I finally got the opportunity to ask you. I think I learned a lot now.
Maybe
about
you
the
should
state.
consider sticking around. Minnesota, it's okay, but Iowa I think is better.
We'll agree to disagree.
Oh, whatever.
But make sure you stay tuned, because next we have some Iowa stereotypes on KDPS 88.1. And just like that, we're back on 88.1 with those Iowa stereotypes. So, again, I'm going to beat a dead horse. I've been trying to keep up with the Iowa culture. I'm making a strong effort to do so.
I appreciate that.
And now I'm going to ask you about some Iowa stereotypes that I found on the internet. I'm going to list them all off, and I want to hear your take on them.
Okay.
So first, the number 1 stereotype was Iowa is a flyover state. The second one is that everybody from Iowa is a hick. And the third one is that there's nothing in Iowa besides plains and cornfields. Some of these don't seem wrong to me.
Oh, really?
Especially the third one, but I want to hear what the Iowan has to say.
Okay, what the Iowan has to say. I mean, okay, to be honest, probably is a bit of a flyover state. But number 2, definitely not even a thing. I don't think I've even met a hick yet in Iowa, and I've gotten to travel around here for a while.
What is categorized as a hick?
I know, that's the thing.
Is that just
I
like
was
a
thinking.
farmer?
I guess if you're defining it as farmer, then yeah, but I'm thinking like a guy with knocked out tooth with a piece of grass in his mouth.
Seems like a stereotype right there.
Yeah, I know, I'm creating a hick stereotype, here we go. But yeah, I mean, they're not wrong, but I think they're not totally right either.
Now we know.
There we go. Alright, well stick around, Eric, because I have a couple questions for you about Minnesota. You're listening to Edge 88.1. So Eric asked me a couple questions about Iowa. Very founded. Now I got a couple questions for him about Minnesota. Are you ready for this, Eric?
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, basically, these are a couple things. When I asked people Minnesota, this is what they thought of.
This will be interesting.
Yeah. Somebody said cold.
That is very true. I can't disagree with that. We're almost in Canada.
Yeah, another person said Canada, actually, so there you go, you answered that one. Another person said cheese. You guys are crazy about cheese.
What?
Have you ever heard of that, or would you say that's true?
Absolutely not. That's our neighbors to the east, Wisconsin.
Oh, I bet that makes sense. They probably got mixed up. And then a very interesting one. There's a couple others, but I'll just skip to these interesting one. They say that you guys are part mermaid with the amount of lakes that you guys have.
Unfortunately, that's not true. I feel like it's almost a sin not to know how to swim in the state of Minnesota, but I can't talk because I am not a very strong swimmer myself.
Do you at least know how to swim, though?
I can float.
Oh, you can float. Okay. Float as long as you need until you get rescued?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, well, you know, there's not a lot of lakes for you to float in Iowa. All right, stay tuned for some more Iowa-Minnesota talk on Edge 88.1.
You are listening to the Iowa-Sota Show on 88.1 The Edge. So I'm kind of feeding back on the Iowa retirement / Iowa stereotypes thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know, Iowa.
It's a lot of Iowa on the show
But
today.
now I'm wondering, what makes an Iowan different from, say, somebody from Minnesota? Like, we rally behind lakes, I'd say nature / forests, and then losing sports teams. What does Iowa do that stands out from everybody else?
What does Iowa do? Well, I think Iowa rallies around, of course, the butter cow, which you've probably heard about.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, that's one's kind of famous. Corn and farming, which, you know, there's not a lot of difference between Iowa and Nebraska in that area. Politics is one, I think, because we're one of those big states that everybody thinks is a big deal. And then I really do think there is such a thing as Iowa nice.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You might be stealing a page out of the Minnesota handbook right there.
Wait, what do you mean?
The Minnesota nice slogan.
Wait, Minnesota has a nice slogan too?
Yeah, Minnesota nice.
Oh, I didn't even know that. What even? Okay, well, we're competing apparently. Iowa and Minnesota, who's nicer? That is a question.
We'll leave it up to you guys, but it seems like we learn something new every day. Keep listening to this on 88.1 The Edge.
We've talked about Iowa, we've talked about Minnesota, we've talked about a lot of awesome stuff, but we haven't talked about one thing that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is food. I'm assuming you love food as well, Eric.
I do. I love food to death, and if I'm going to tell you my favorite Minnesota, I'd say Minnesota type food, it would be fish. Ironic because of all the lakes, but I don't think there is anything better than a walleye that's caught in the morning and then that's fried up at night.
Oh my goodness, I can't say I've ever tried that before. I am not a huge fish person, but I am a huge corn person.
I'm shocked.
What?
Shocked by the old Iowa stereotype
I know, it's typical stereotype. I wish I had something else to go to. But, I mean, I also like, pizza. But that's everybody. I think that's Minnesotans and Iowan either way.
That we can agree on together.
Yep, there we go. One thing I don't like is Pop-Tarts.
Whoa. Slow down now.
Just can't handle
That one hits home a little bit, but don't disrespect fish. That's all I ask.
Okay, I'll avoid disrespecting the fish. I'm willing to try it. Bring me some in sometime.
We'll have to see. I'll have to get a skillet or something in here. But all this food has me starving.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for listening to the Iowa-Sota Show. Make sure to check us out every Monday from 6 to 8. Have a fantastic evening. And remember, you're listening to 88.1 The Edge.